Welcome to Produce Talks.
This whole business is based on relationship and friendships.
Food is darn simple.
What can we do? What are other countries doing?
How important it is for industry to be talking about this.
We're going back to the farm. We're going back to the whole food.
Welcome to Produce Talks, the CPMA podcast. My name is Ian Brody, and today I am joined on the line by Davis Young and Oleen Smethurst for our Between Two Chairs episode. We take a look back at the last several months, revisiting the ways that CPMA continues to support the produce industry with new resources and advocacy efforts. We also take a look at what's ahead and talk about some of the ways that members and industry partners can get engaged with CPMA. We hope you enjoy this episode and stay tuned for more great content. Davis and Oleen, welcome back to the podcast. I'll have you start off by introducing yourselves to any new listeners.
So my name is Oleen Smethurst. I am the past chair of CPMA and I'm an assistant vice president for Costco Canada.
I'm Davis Young. I am the president and CEO of Fresh Direct Produce. I am the chair for the CPMA this year and been involved with the CPMA board of directors since 2011.
Yeah, so combined, you have volunteer leadership experience of over 20 years with the CPMA. That's a lot of time outside of your day jobs.
It's interesting how I got started with CPMA. It was my boss that wanted me to get involved. And we're so focused on our own world at Costco, and probably every other retailer in the world is the same way. But CPMA has helped me better understand what's going on in the industry. And by getting involved in the committees, it's helped me understand what our issues and challenges are as an industry with government, technology, and everything else that's gone on. And then personally, the industry is filled with such incredibly talented and insightful people that the networking has been invaluable for me to actually meet up with new and different growers in different areas. And it's truly helped me expand the offerings that we have at Costco.
You know, CPMA is very fortunate to have volunteer leaders such as yourselves. Davis, if you want to expand on that, why is it important or beneficial for you to be so involved with CPMA?
First, I've been very fortunate to receive a lot of support from past and current CPMA board members, staff, and also the CPMA programs throughout my career. It just feels good to be able to give back and support an industry that has given me so much. Second, I want to encourage a more diversified representation of members in CPMA, as I believe we have the opportunity to have more women and visible minorities participating and representing in CPMA committees and board of directors.
Yeah, one thing that I've noticed more recently is that a lot more women in produce have been joining CPMA committees, which is great to see, as that diversity plays a real role in driving dialogue and innovation.
Yeah. For me as an immigrant, right? I came to Canada when I was 17, enrolling in ESL classes as a foreign student. And I've been so blessed with this country. It's been so welcoming, supportive, and culture. Where I was born and raised in Hong Kong, we don't think about getting involved as much. We don't think about participating in politics or nonprofit organizations. And my experience here for the last 28 years within the Produce Association with the CPMA and the industry has just been amazing. So I really want people to get involved. You give what you get, and to support these amazing organizations, because at the end we all going to benefit if this is your career, this is a vocation.
And so with all the impacts from COVID right now, we need strong leadership and guidance now more than ever. Oleen, as our current past chair, your term ended in May and certainly didn't end the way anyone would have anticipated, with the cancellation of the convention and trade show. But I recall during our virtual AGM, you said that the last few months, really showcased that CPMA is so much more than just a convention and trade show. Expanding on that, what really stands out to you when you reflect on your year as chair?
It was definitely a very interesting year and definitely not the norm. But it was an amazing year. And going back on what I said at the AGM, I think I was absolutely stunned, and in a good way, because the amount of work that CPMA does and is doing and has done, to be honest with you, on projects is remarkable. And I think until you're actually, involved with all the committees and everything that's going on a day-to-day, weekly basis, like Ron and I spoke almost every other day, you don't really understand how much work is entailed and how much work we do as an association for the industry. The sustainability and food waste issues that we've been working on and tackling, the plastics working group alone, when I think about what that accomplished, it brought together all retailers in Canada, including, Costco, which we construe ourselves to be a non-conventional retailer. And we had numerous suppliers with all the retailers together trying to figure out how we as an industry can address the growing consumer concern about too much plastic. It was phenomenal to get that participation and that dedication from retail, I think, alone. We had one meeting where all retail was in the room, and we agreed on certain things that we thought would be the right thing to do for the industry and to move forward on the topic. That, for me, was a first and extremely necessary, because we have to move in one direction if we're going to make change possible and not have a negative impact on anything and increase costs. The work done by CPMA, Ron, and the staff during this whole COVID situation, the communication that they had on an hourly basis with all the government relations and the issues and member relations has been unbelievable. So it truly opened my eyes to how much we do as an association for the industry and even for helping government understand the industry, which was truly impactful for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, just reflecting on it more, I think the last time that we really spoke was at our Farm to Plate event on the Hill, and that was late February. So, I mean, you look at that timeline, when we're advocating on key issues like crop protection, financial protection, sustainability. But, events like that and our advocacy efforts over the past few years, really positioned us in a great place to work with those senior government officials.
We can see, sorry, Ian, because you can see the response that we've been getting from the government when we do the events on the Hill, et cetera. You can see there's so much more communication, and they know us now. I think there was an amazing connection this last round that I noticed the difference in how they're reacting to what we're saying, and they're listening. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you can really see how we've grown that whole sector.
Yeah, no, it goes a long way in terms of, Ron has been presenting to, the House of Commons Health Committee, Agriculture Committee, Finance Committee. Those talks are ongoing on like a daily or weekly basis with government stakeholders. So it's a real effort that I think has sort of culminated, over the last couple of years. So we can give better support for the industry on key issues like, PPE and labor and flexibility and labeling on packaging and things like that. So,
well, the work on the lot codes alone has been tremendous that Jane and the team have done. So yeah, it's remarkable because you don't realize what's being done behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. So, Davis, I'll turn to you. Coming in during these unique times, have you had to change or adjust your approach to your year as chair? And what are you hoping to accomplish for the year?
First, I want to echo what Oleen just mentioned about the work and the effort that CPMA staff and the executive, and of course Oleen as the chair last year, that the things that have been done and accomplished the last few months is just incredible. Having the privilege to witness it on the front row seat of all the weekly calls, and almost every other day there's some updates and meetings to address COVID-related issues. Just feeling blessed to be part of the organization that is doing a lot for the members. For myself, definitely with the travel and public gathering restrictions, all the plans that to attend the events and to be connected with members and with other associations now were either canceled or moved to virtual. So we really rely on the weekly CPMA executive call to keep each other updated on many current issues or projects that CPMA is undertaking, and also being connected to each regional executive member. That has been tremendously helpful in terms of pulling together, supporting each other. So I feel even though it's difficult, but we pivot, we adjust really quickly and very effectively. So there are three priorities I hope to accomplish this year as a chair. First, to prepare and ensure the financial health of the organization. And this is the utmost importance. This is a 95-year-old organization that has a lot of legacy and strong foundations. Coming to COVID, that really hit hard with the financial impact from the convention cancellations, and now with some uncertainty around next year's convention, we really have to come up with some good plans to make sure that we are financially sustainable for all the staff and also for all the member services that we're providing. So that's number one. Number two is to provide members with more resources and tools to address the changing marketplace because of COVID. We know this is not going to be, back to normal overnight, and this is going to be a gradual recovery. And there are a lot of things happening in our sector, and in fact, there are even within the different sectors, there are different needs and concerns and problems that as an organization we need to understand and address them more effectively. So I think one of the things that we've been doing is providing more learning seminars, learning lounges, and also addressing individual members' requests to a manner that is effective for them. And the third piece is to increase collaborations amongst members and also regional associations to support local communities and also vulnerable populations. Why this is important, I think when times are challenging, when times are tough, people wanted to reach out, people wanted to be connected. And I think we had an organization that with, almost 900 members in Canada and in the US or Mexico or other places. And now with virtual meetings and with calls, that we are really able to connect and address issues that is cross borders, but also as well as the local market. So there's one initiative that we take on this year is to kind of collaborate with CPMA and regional associations and having members in each region to donate and sponsor fresh produce and donate to the frontline workers and vulnerable communities. So we started in BC already. Next is going to be Alberta. We just had a call this morning with Quebec and the Atlantic provinces. Next week, we're going to be also talking to the Perrier province and Quebec. And so this is going to be one project that we're taking, but I think the spirit behind it is really we're going to come together and make a healthy difference in our industry.
We'll keep the conversation going after a quick word from our sponsor, Nature Fresh Farms.
Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Nature Fresh Farms. As we continue to navigate through these uncertain times, our team has worked tirelessly to bring you fresh vegetables during a period where maintaining your health is crucial. With our committed team, we are confident in our surety of supply, delivering consumers nutritional product throughout the year. For more information on our products, visit www.naturefresh.ca.
Expanding on COVID, I know people in our sector and other sectors are probably a little bit tired of the continuous media and talk around it. The impacts from COVID-19 are wide-ranging for businesses across the sector. Oleen, I'm going to put you on the spot here. For you, I'm sure it has meant less travel.
Way less travel.
And for some in produce, they've seen very positive changes due to, changes in consumer buying patterns or hoarding that, started during the pandemic, while others like those in food service, are only now just seeing some recovery. How do you see phase 3 moving forward for our domestic and international business?
I'm pleased that we're hitting phase 3 for most of Ontario anyway, right? And I think each province is doing, we're getting through this, thank goodness. To be honest, I'm positive about produce in general. I think we've had the most amazing support from the vendors that we deal with. They have jumped through absolutely every hoop known to mankind to make sure that they tried to keep us in stock as best as they could. We're still experiencing supply chain issues, especially when I think internationally. There's been a lot of issues out of South Africa with, the ports being overwhelmed with the COVID, because everyone's in different phases. So the ports, we've had issues with South African ports and vessels, and I don't know how long it's going to take till that gets, normalized. It'll all depend on how everyone starts recuperating from everything. And labor is still an ongoing concern everywhere, including Canada. Mm-hmm. So I think everything is extremely positive for produce overall, in my opinion, because I think people are really wanting to eat healthy more so than ever, which is fantastic for us. But I think we've still got a lot of challenges going forward, and hopefully we don't get the second wave, but we're way more prepared if we do. So I'm thinking extremely positively for everything moving forward. I'm pleased, and I think everything's moving in the right direction.
I think what you just mentioned, Oleen, about this kind of disruptions from overseas shipments, whether it's air shipments that been hit hard by the flight cancellations, and also sea shipments from South Africa, you just mentioned, or even in Asia, there are a lot of disruptions because the vessels are not full, or they need to make more drops or pickups from different ports, and those are challenges that I think our industry are very used to in terms of dealing with this type of logistics issues. So, it's challenging, but at the same time, it's nothing really unusual in terms of it's just complexity and the challenges this type of things that are brought to our members. I think what is interesting is, every, adversity comes with opportunities. I think this is really a great learning for us. And some of the things that we anticipated, in as a trends that, like, say, online and home delivery and things like this, we thought that, it's going to be take, maybe 5 to 10 years to see things mature. But with COVID, I think overnight, we see the adoption rate of people ordering produce online has gone up tremendously. So the investment in technology and the now the openness of and adopting more technology into our industry, into the supply chain, I think really change things. So for automation, I think now we can see with the labor issues, it become more relevant than ever that we needed to find alternative way to do farming, picking, packing. And so robotics, AI, automation is now getting to the front of the topic again for many companies. So on the other side, on the regulations and policies and program too, the government has always been very supportive of our industry. But with COVID, again, it kind of getting some of this conversation front and center again. So I feel this is a time that for CPMA to help really have a unified voice for the industry to really present the challenges and some of the key issues that need to be addressed for members are very, very effective. And we have seen some really, really positive results the past couple months. So I think this year is going to be critical that some of the issues or policy that we have been working the past few years, there might be an opportunity for us to fast track those and like regulatory modernization and things like that. I think it's a real opportunity for us to make some good progress during difficult time.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's a great segue to my next question. While the entire sector has changed, so too has CPMA. And, the executive yourselves have been meeting weekly since March as the association looks across all of our services and our resources to ensure that, we continue to meet the needs of our members and the industry at large. Do you feel that the resource needs and the member demands have changed? And how can CPMA, best continue to support our membership?
Ian, based on what's happening currently and what's been happening, the CGIM committee, which is the Canadian Government Issues Management Committee, has just put together, I guess you would call it a summary of the industry recovery recommendations for the COVID-19 pandemic. And it actually offers government 25 recommendations regarding public health, economic, and logistical challenges that the industry has faced during this whole pandemic. For me, I read the whole package this morning, and it's just amazing how much work is in there and what we're actually trying to accomplish and try to help the industry get through this, especially if there's anything more coming down the road with this pandemic. It's covering so many different parts of what we've faced throughout this whole situation that it shows that definitely member demands have changed because we've had to face so many things that we've never had to face before. Mm-hmm. And I think CPMA has done an absolute amazing job in what they're going to be doing, because this hasn't gone to government yet, but it will be going to government, in giving them really good information that they need to help the industry going forward.
Yeah, I think we really need to come together because we all have relationships. Each member have a bank that we do business with. We all have suppliers or customers that we do business with that are part of the industry or the fabric of the supply chain that advocating for the industry, advocating for the collective good. If we look at the things that have been coming to us or to Ron and the CPMA in terms of seeking advice or input, this is a great opportunity for us to really express, how good the industry is about, right? We are making a healthy difference. We're promoting healthy diet and eating more fruits and vegetables. And in the past, sometimes our industry kind of in the back of many other more interesting industry, whether it's the financial sector, or the real estate, or some of the technologies. And during this time, essential services, food, putting food on table, making our farmers being known they are doing some hard work there, and bring the challenges to the policymakers, and so I feel this is really important time for our industry. So, for example, Bank of Canada will reach out and seeking from our industry input, like, what is the current kind of monetary or financial policy having impact to our members. And so this is a great way for us to explain, there are different challenges, whether it's the farming side or from the wholesale side or the retail side. And this is just one example. There are many other trade organizations or a regional association or from different federal or provincial or municipal governments that are reaching out. So I encourage members to really understand what CPMA is doing, so that we could have a unified voice to bring out the issues to the policymakers to support us better.
When we talk about developing member value and resources, we focus on a lot of topics of things like food safety, innovation, food waste, sustainability and packaging, market intelligence. That list goes on, and those topic areas can really go quite deep themselves. Is there any specific topic or issue that you think is going to evolve and have an impact over the next year or so that maybe we should be focusing a little bit more on?
I think we're focusing on a lot of the key things. Food safety. I just read somewhere today that consumers are still worried about whether COVID and food can be, if food can be a contaminant or what have you. So food safety, I think, is going to be still an ongoing focus for consumers. Food waste, sustainability, and packaging, for me, they are still top of mind. And even packaged product right now, I think you can see that consumers are reaching towards that more so than the bulk, because they feel a little bit more safe about it. I think it's going to continue to be more demand from the consumers for that. I think plastics are going to be very important to consumers because they're appreciating prepackaged product that hasn't been, cannot be touched by too many people in store. I think that's going to become more and more important. And that in turn will need us to stay focused on the packaging and how we package and the recyclability and the recycled content of packaging. I think that's going to come back to consumers' minds eventually in the next few months when all this calms down. So I think we've touched on most of the things that we need to stay focused on. We're already working on. I think also, Davis, you touched on automation. I think that's going to become even more important going forward, especially with the amount of foreign workers and labor issues that we still see and are seeing. So I agree that I think that's going to have to be in front of everyone's minds as well.
Davis, anything to add?
Yeah, I actually like to take it on a different perspective in terms of this may be an opportunity for us to look at some of the opportunities and challenges in a more balanced way. I think in the past, sometimes when we had some advocates on one area or another that we feel there's only one solution. But looking at plastic as an example that Oleen just mentioned, right? During the pandemic, people realized the packaging is very important. So plastic is not necessarily the enemy, but how can we embrace it and use it in a way that is the best for the environment, but at the same time also good for consumers and the growers and distributors. So that is kind of one dynamics. And then if we look at the global economy and global sourcing versus local demand, there's a shift in now people wanted to buy more local products to support local growers and farmers. I think that's great. But at the same time, I think there's also a role for global producers and sourcing product from outside of the country, because we don't grow and we don't have a lot of products just because of our climate and where we are. So there is a balance, and I think an understanding of a lot of things actually is not mutually exclusive. Even on the shopping behavior, the brick and mortars are definitely important. We need them. We need to have that. But at the same time, the online delivery and home delivery, we know that they could coexist and is actually complementary to where we are. And you look at the seniors or people who are more vulnerable, they need to stay home. So how can they get the produce and how can they get food? So I think now it really opens up that dialogue that is more kind of open to possibilities. And I think a lot of the work and issues that the association is advocating and working on, a lot of time, there are more than one perspective. And I think our role is to really bridge and listen and encourage members to have more dialogues. And I feel very positive about all these things. So I think it's actually, I think it brings out the best of the people in times like this versus, we are focusing on all the challenges and negatives that are affecting the industry.
While there is so much uncertainty about, the next couple months and year ahead, the risk of a second wave and so on, there is still lots to be optimistic about. Oleen, I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, before we wrap up. Is there anything that you would say that, you could be certain about or optimistic about for produce industry looking ahead?
I'm completely optimistic. I think we've got a great opportunity on our hands. People right now are at home, they're cooking more. I think they're willing to try different things. They're much more open to trying things. We're seeing amazing sales, and I hope, everyone else is seeing the same thing. I feel sorry for food service, but I think it's coming back ever so slowly. And I think that's also positive. I think a lot more people are trying, Uber Eats and whatever else to get product to their homes. But I think people are a lot more open to cooking, which for us is a huge advantage. I also think we're an incredibly resilient and strong industry, and we're so fortunate to be selling health to the world. We're in the perfect position right now to, get people more involved and more interested in produce. So I don't see, really, there's not a lot of negative for the future in my mind.
Yeah, again, I just wanted to echo what Oleen just said about the industry being resilient. We are a resilient group. We thrive under pressure and uncertainty and adversity. And I really want to say thank you to Oleen for the amazing leadership the past year. And there's a big shoes to fill for myself, but I know our industry is working well together, and Oleen is going to be staying on board as past chair. So really looking forward to an amazing year. And whatever the convention in Vancouver looks like, we are asking for support and for members to be engaged. And thank you again, Oleen, for the amazing service to the organization.
Oh, thanks, Davis. That's super sweet of you. And I just know that regardless of what happens going forward, we're still going to be amazing as an association because we've got such an amazing group of staff, and the industry that is involved with it is just remarkable. And I think we're growing stronger every year, in my opinion. So I think there's massive opportunities, and I hope you have fun with your year. A little bit less, a little bit less chaos than I experienced. So enjoy yourself, and I know you're going to be awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, Oleen.
I think that's a great way to cap it off. So thank you so much, Oleen and Davis, for joining another episode of Produce Talks. I hope you both stay safe and take care.
Thank you. Same to you, Ian.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Davis and Oleen for joining me on this episode. Until next time, fill half your plate with fruits and veggies, continue to seek out new knowledge, and basically never stop growing.